beautiful weather across the Bluegrass State today. I've got a taste of summer on the way as we head toward Memorial Day.
Now at 4, a shooting suspect on the run. The search is on for a man accused of shooting another man at a home in southern Kentucky.
More names are now on the Kentucky Law Enforcement Memorial. Hear from the families of the men honored today.
This is WKYT News at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Jennifer Palumbo. The week is off to a beautiful start in the Bluegrass. Here's a live look at downtown Lexington where it's sunny and in the mid-70s right now. A perfect afternoon to be outside at Triangle Park. So how long will it last? Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at the forecast. Chris?
Question I have, why are we inside right now, Jennifer? What an absolutely gorgeous day, as you mentioned, to get out and enjoy across central and eastern Kentucky. We were looking into downtown. Here is the live look over top of Hamburg Pavilion. That beautiful sunny sky, 76 degrees, humidity not bad at all, only 42% as of now. That humidity, though, is going to really ramp up over the next several days. Current temperatures across central and eastern Kentucky, mid and upper 70s. The farther west that you get, low 70s across the east, where we have just a hint of a little bit of cloud cover hanging tough, though I don't think we're going to complain too much because your Defender radar network is absolutely dry. Out and about this evening, 70s through sundown, then we'll hit the upper 50s and low 60s by around 11 o'clock. The pattern ahead of us, though, area of low pressure off the eastern seaboard, not going to impact our weather. Low pressure out across the plains. Eventually we'll throw a thunderstorm our way, but notice the warm and humid air. That is an out-and-out summer preview that is on the way over the next several days. And Jennifer, coming up in a few minutes, we'll show you how that may indeed stick around through that Memorial Day weekend forecast. We'll break down an all-important 7-day forecast when I come back in 15 minutes.
We'll see you then, Chris. The search is on for a man suspected in a southern Kentucky shooting. The violence broke out at a home on Ringgold Road near Somerset. Police are looking for this man, 47-year-old Dwayne Peters. He's accused of shooting Harlan Richardson last night, then taking off. Phil Pendleton has the latest in the case in our top story at 4.
The shooting happened here just off of Ringgold Road about 9 o'clock on Sunday night. Police say that a neighbor went to his neighbor's house, which is actually across the street here. There was some kind of an argument, and then one of them pulled out a gun, and a man was shot. Police say the cause is still under investigation, but neighbors say they saw 37-year-old Harlan Richardson pull up in a truck at 47-year-old Dwayne E. Peters' home. Words were exchanged, and police say Peters shot Richardson once in the stomach area. Both people left the location of the shooting.
The victim in the shooting was conscious and identified the shooter as the owner of that trailer.
Despite that injury, the victim himself was able to call for help. He was taken to a location. EMS responded, then he was airlifted from near the scene to UK Hospital. We're going to have a lot more on this coming up at 5 o'clock. But for now, in Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Richardson remains at UK Hospital in fair condition. WKYT has learned Peters is a convicted felon who is not supposed to have a gun. They dedicated their lives to protecting their communities, and today, a ceremony in Richmond honored their sacrifice. The fallen law enforcement officers had their names added to the Kentucky Law Enforcement Memorial, including 4 who died last year. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy shows you how they were honored.
The families of the men whose names were added to this memorial called it a beautiful but bittersweet service.
You know, this is where Daniel was every day for many years, you know, coming to school here, coming to the academy here. And it's a sad occasion, of course, but it means a lot to our family.
Officer Daniel Ellis's family was one of several that sat in front of the Kentucky Law Enforcement Memorial Monday. The Richmond police officer's name is now beside hundreds of men and women who gave their lives while working. Ellis, Troopers Eric Chrisman and Cameron Ponder, and Nicholasville Police Officer Burke Rhodes will forever be remembered at the Department of Criminal Justice Training. Trooper Chrisman's mother knows the wall well.
I actually went to the academy, police academy here, and so I know this wall. But to be here and to see the new names on it, it's just very touching.
There are now more than 530 names on this memorial. In Richmond, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
In addition to the 4 killed in 2015, 5 others were honored today. Those law enforcement officers' names were just recently added to the National Memorial. A Morehead State University police officer is recovering from a bad crash on campus this morning. A spokesperson for MSU says the officer was on his personal motorcycle leaving work around 4 a.m. when he lost control on University Boulevard and was thrown over a creek, landing in a parking lot. MSU police posted on their Facebook page a picture of Sergeant Anthony Dalton asking for prayers for him and his family. Dalton is listed in critical condition at UK Hospital. A man accused of killing his girlfriend was in court in Lexington this afternoon. Police say William Pomeroy shot and killed Amy Kogel in the backyard of the couple's home on Pinckney Drive Friday morning. The couple has 3 children. Now the Pine Meadows Neighborhood Association is trying to help them through this difficult time.
Not only just in the neighborhood, from as far away as New York and Texas, who were classmates of Amy, and been a great outpouring. The neighborhood has kind of come together, and I think they've kept the family and food and things like that. It says a lot about the neighborhood as far as the connection between the people that live here, that they are neighbors, and I think it says a lot about Lexington. I think it's pretty much that way in a lot of neighborhoods.
The Neighborhood Association is in the process of setting up a fund at a bank. Kogel also volunteered as a Girl Scout leader in Lexington. We'll have more from Pomeroy's court appearance today on WKYT News at 5. A 5th suspect in a Lexington teenager's murder was also in court today. Jordan Jackson is charged in connection with the killing of 18-year-old DeMichael Bolton. State police say he was shot outside an Anderson County business during a party after Kentucky State University's homecoming. Kendall and Kenneth Berry, William Edwards, and Antoine James are also charged with Bolton's murder. State police say they're still looking for a 6th suspect. Our reporters are working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Amber Philpott joins us from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Amber.
Good afternoon to you, Jennifer. We have an update this afternoon on a Lexington family involved in a deadly crash. Israel Avalar and his 3 sons died when an SUV rear-ended their van and pushed it into the path of a semi in Texas over the weekend. Avalar's pastor at Clays Mill Road Baptist Church says 3 other family members are improving. Avalar's wife has pulled through 2 surgeries and is expected to recover. His daughter Kimberly and his mother Sarah are also improving. Another daughter who wasn't on the trip has arrived in Texas to be with the surviving family members. He says he took a plea deal to help the victim's family. Today, a man admitted to playing a role in another man's murder. Ryan Denholm pled guilty to several charges in the 2011 death of Zachary Flower in Madison County. Denholm's brother, Matthew, is already facing a life sentence for his role in Flower's death and for the murders of a Richmond couple.
My whole purpose of being here today is to put this behind me and to bring closure to Zachary Flower's mother. I'm not trying to torment her.
Zachary Flower's family was in the courtroom. They said they didn't want to go on camera, but they did say they were unhappy with the plea Denholm was taking. We'll have more on that plea ahead on WKYT News at 4:30. A change of leadership is on the way to Kentucky State University. KSU President Raymond Burse resigned today. His resignation goes into effect this Friday. In a statement, Burse said further demands and challenges of Kentucky State must be undertaken by new leadership. Burse is in his 2nd stint as KSU president, taking over 2 years ago as the school faced significant financial challenges. That's a look at just some of the news in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thanks, Amber. Now to a story making headlines across the nation at 4. More than a year after Freddie Gray died in police custody in Baltimore, the first verdict is in for one of the 6 officers charged, and it's not guilty on all charges. Steve Nannis has the latest.
Edward Nero, one of 6 officers charged in connection to the events that led to the April 2015 death of Freddie Gray, was found not guilty Monday, saying in a statement that he and his family are, quote, elated that this nightmare is finally over. Nero maintains he and his fellow officers did nothing wrong. Nero was part of a trio of bike officers that initially encountered Gray, who was subsequently arrested and put into a police van for transport. None of the officers involved in the case placed a seatbelt on Gray, who was unconscious when he arrived at the police station and died a week later from a spinal injury. Several days of violent protests followed Gray's death. Today, some Baltimore residents were visibly upset.
This say no justice, no peace.
But Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake called for restraint, saying in a statement, quote, "We once again ask the citizens to be patient and to allow the entire process to come to a conclusion." And Congressman Elijah Cummings, whose district includes parts of Baltimore, reminded his constituents,
there are always going to be people who are not going to be satisfied with the decision. But keep in mind, we also have 5 more trials to go.
The attorney for Freddie Gray's family commended the judge and said while they were disappointed with the outcome,
we got 5 more cases, so everybody needs to relax and get your popcorn and wait and see what happens in these other cases.
Officer Nero will remain on administrative capacity until all of the trials are completed. In Washington, I'm Steve Nannis.
It's been empty for years, but now there's a new plan for a highly visible lot in downtown Lexington that tops today's WKYT Money Watch. The Herald Leader reports a 5-story mixed-use complex will be built at the corner of Main and Midland. Old National Bank, based in Evansville, will be the main tenant. Other retailers are expected to be announced soon. Developer Phil Hollebeck told the paper he's also planning to build about 4 dozen apartments above the bank. Construction is set to begin in the fall and should be completed next year. German drug company Bayer made a $62 billion offer to buy U.S.-based crop and seed specialist Monsanto. The company is based in St. Louis and has about 20,000 employees. If the deal goes through, the German company would be the biggest supplier of farm chemicals and genetically modified seeds in the world. Good news if you plan to grill out this Memorial Day weekend. Beef prices have dropped to their lowest level in 2 years. According to Bloomberg, cattle ranchers are expanding their herds and feed costs are down. It's time for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. If you haven't checked your freezer yet because of a recall, this may be a good time. Millions of packages of frozen fruits and vegetables dating back to 2014 have been recalled due to a listeria outbreak. CRF Food supplies tons of products to Costco, Trader Joe's, Target, and other retailers. You can check the CDC's website to see what you need to return or throw out. Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic in Las Vegas are studying the brains of professional fighters to understand the long-term effects of head trauma. Hundreds of fighters are taking part, and the findings could lead to big changes for sports, including boxing. Chris Martinez shows us what doctors are finding so far.
Hands at the hips and eyes closed.
Michael Finney started boxing when he was 9 years old.
My mom came home one day, says, I found a thing in the paper and just like there's a boxing gym. I was like, sure, what the heck.
15 years and well over 150 fights later, he wants to know the toll it's taking on his mind.
A little bit of memory, stuff like that, and you notice. And I was just like, man, it kind of scares you. HZ.
Michael is taking part in a study at the Cleveland Clinic in Las Vegas. Researchers are trying to better understand the long-term impact of repetitive head trauma on boxers and mixed martial arts fighters.
It's definitely a violent sport. Both sports are violent sports.
Nearly 650 active and retired fighters are participating. They range in age from 18 to 70.
And they see changes, or their family sees changes, and they want information.
Lead researcher Dr. Charles Bernick says each fighter is evaluated once a year. Their brain scans are then compared over time to measure changes. Not everyone shows the same effects.
There are some individuals who have a tremendous amount of exposure to head trauma, and they do fine. So we're trying to understand why that is.
Bernick is looking into whether genetics might play a role. He says the goal is to make combat sports safer.
For an example, you may be able to develop a policy of how frequently somebody should fight.
Researchers hope to have enough data within the next few years to make policy recommendations that could help the next generation of fighters. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Las Vegas.